it's an amazing thing to me that David stood against Goliath by himself. There were thousands of warriors on both sides of the valley. Thousands and thousands of warriors, trained warriors, representing the entire nation. The stakes were so high. Remember, whoever defeated the army, literally, if the Philistines defeated Israel's army, all of those men became slaves and servants of the Philistines. Their children, their wives, they became slaves and servants. Philistines would have plundered their wealth, plundered their harvests. I mean, it's just an amazing thing. And here's David. You have this big, mighty, strapping warrior that is ready to confront the strongest and bestest of the army of Israel. And here's David with a sling and a stone. And in this session, I just would like to highlight to you that sometimes when you are reaching for your dream, you might find yourself in a situation where the stakes seem so high. The stakes are so high. And it might well be the stakes are very high. There is big pressure. You might feel like the whole world is watching you. Family, friends. You might feel like there's so much that depends on you and what you are able to do or not do. The secret of what David was able to reach for was in his knowledge of the covenant of his God and his confidence in the covenant of his God, Jehovah God, the living God. His confidence was in that covenant. It didn't really matter how many thousands of men were watching. If it was just David and Goliath all on their own, standing face to face across a valley, wanting to have a dueling session, the God of the covenant for David was the same, and that was his strength. That's what he believed in. It's amazing to me that once David conquered Goliath, how the potential of Israel, the people that were all the covenant people of Israel, all the covenants of all the people of Israel was released. If I can put it to you this way, while Goliath was standing there, all of the enemies of Israel were a threat to the covenant of God, and all of the blessings that God had declared over Israel, Goliath and the Philistines were threatening to destroy it, undermine it, remove the blessing, come against the blessing. But when David conquered Goliath, what happened was that what turned out to be the big threat, what turned out to be the big problem, was solved. And all of the blessing that rested upon all the soldiers, all of the strength, all of the courage, all of the thing that God wanted to use Israel for to proclaim his greatness on the earth was released. And they charged after the enemies and overtook their enemies and destroyed them. And it says in verse 53, then the children of Israel returned from chasing the Philistines, and they plundered their tents. And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. In other words, he was not going to take on what the armor represented. He was not going to take on a new role, because of the victory. He was content that he had fulfilled the dream that God had given him to this point. He had fulfilled the fact that he could conquer Goliath. And look, it was the beginning of a whole new series of activities that we'll talk about. It was released in David's life. But it's such a wonderment to me, as I conclude our session today, it's such a wonderment to me that whenever something happens in your life that's good, it unlocks the capability. It unlocks other people to see other things and to be able to plunder spoils, to plunder hell and populate heaven, as some have said, to plunder destruction and make restoration out of it. So don't give up on your dream, and don't quit reaching for that God has put in your heart, because it will be to the benefit of many other people than just yourself. Thank you.